Good evening, burners. Paul here with another episode of Thursday Night Live on Wednesday night. We're talking to the incredible Hattie Boydle. So, okay,
Wi-Fi's on now.
Wi-Fi has just kicked in and we're back on. So, like I said, we are getting joined tonight by the amazing Hattie Boydle. If you've been living under a rock and don't know who Hattie is, she is a WBFF world champion figure competitor, and she's just sent a request through. Go right now. All right, drum roll. Here she is. I'll just hold this. Get it ready. It's connecting. Hattie, how you going?
Hi.
Long time no speak.
I know, it's been so long.
How you been?
I've been really good. I have to apologize. I'm literally in my pajamas because it's actually 8:30 here and I go to bed at 9. So I'm like getting ready to hit the hay after this. I was getting ready for 6:30 Sydney time.
Oh, when did you find out that it was 8:30 today or?
Today. Mum's like, no, Dale, that's Perth time. And I was like, oh.
Well, I keep getting it mixed up. I keep saying 6:30 Eastern Standard, 8:30 Perth time, but that doesn't work. It's actually the other way around. So
how are you?
Good. I'm really excited to be talking to you. I think it's been probably about a year since we did our interviews over in Sydney. Is that right? Has it been about a year?
Has it been longer than that?
It could be longer than that. Yeah, it was quite a while ago. But that video that we did is one of the most popular videos we've ever done. So, and it's still out there, still going.
Oh, awesome.
So we're going to be keeping you up past your bedtime. So if we've got you for an hour, you're going to be out half an hour.
God.
Finish this and straight to bed, hey?
Don't get me too excited because when I get really excited, I find it really hard to shut off. So if you're really funny, I mean, I love laughing, and you are really funny. So the thing is, like, even though it's gonna be 9:30 and I'm gonna be like, I should be going to bed, I'm gonna be so stimulated.
All right, we'll start sort of tailing it down towards the end.
Yeah.
Just for our burners and viewers at the start, Gut Performance and Hattie are giving away one of these. And do you have the diary with you at all, just out of interest?
It's upstairs.
It's upstairs. That's all right.
Yeah.
So a lucky viewer will get one of these and one of Hattie's amazing Love and Light journals. We will explain how you win it at the end. So I think what we'll do, Hattie, is we do this at the end and they take a screenshot and they share it, and then Chloe's going to announce it tomorrow.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Yeah, and that diary is amazing. Fiona had one and she just absolutely loves it.
I use it every day. I've got my mum onto it. I've got my sister onto it. I've got my girlfriend that I live with onto it. So, I mean, journaling honestly changed my life. So it's an amazing tool. And what an awesome gift we get to give away.
Yes, yeah, I think it's worth over $100 and a lucky viewer's going to win it. I must admit as well, with journaling, I'm doing it every day now as well after breath work and meditation, and it is amazing. People underrate it. It's so important.
Oh, awesome. I love that.
And that's since I spoke to you.
Oh my God, I love that. I mean, the great thing about journaling is you can't do it wrong. There's actually no way you can get it wrong because journaling is whatever you want it to be. I call it like holding space. Like it doesn't talk back to me. It just literally listens. Like it holds whatever I need it to hold. And it's such a great way to be able to declutter the mind and almost like be able to pull apart the pieces and then put them together again. It's so powerful.
I think that's a really good way of explaining it. And like you said, you can't do it wrong. If you're having a good day and you write good stuff down, it's great. If you're having a bad day and you're just spitting venom onto the page, it's great. You can't do it wrong. I think it's so important.
That's right.
So let's get into it. Just for those of you that, you all know Hattie, but Hattie is a world champion WBFF figure model. When was the last time you competed? It was last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was last August.
Right, okay. And you were on the road to that when we met, actually.
Yeah.
What were the plans for this year, and has COVID thrown anything out for you?
Yeah, so, my intention was to go and do Worlds, which is happening in August. But as of late, there's just you know, too much uncertainty on what's going to happen. And if anyone has ever been in a competition prep, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's not just a physical job, it's a mental job. And there are a lot of things that get put on the sideline. And for me, lately, I've just been thinking, is that uncertainty worth the extra, is it worth it? And so this year, unfortunately, I'm not going to be doing Worlds, which was a really hard decision to make. COVID has actually allowed me to train very hard. So I was on the way there. But to work that hard and put other things on the line or on the back burner, and then for maybe not be able to go, it's just too much energy and too much of my health at risk. Not that I try and do it unhealthy, but it's a lot on the body. So unfortunately, I won't be doing the Worlds this year.
So has that opened the door for anything else? Are you trying to build more muscle, or are you focusing on a business, or what does it allow you to do, not focusing on Worlds?
Definitely being able to, I'm doing a lot of work on my business. So I've been pretty quiet on social media lately for a few reasons. I've got so much work that I'm doing behind the scenes here. Also doing work I've been doing seminars. So I want to be able to do a seminar this year, which requires a lot of mental work. And then, everything that's going on in the world, the movement of Black Lives Matter, that's something that actually I felt very uncomfortable about, and it made me really think, well, what is my role in the world? And not doing anything is not helping the problem. And I've got a lot of friends who are of color, and I have had to have some really uncomfortable conversations with them, and some really amazing conversations with them. And so for me, I also want to do some charity work. So I've been, and not just, oh, here's some money and then all good. It's like, no, what's ongoing? What's something I believe in? And so that's also taken a lot of time because I've had to have a lot of conversations and also go, well, what is it that I want to do, and how do I be a part of the solution? So SMP, I want it to be part of something greater than what we are. Something that's on a global scale, something that can help people that don't have what we have. And so I'm actually really grateful in a way of everything that's happened, because it's forced conversations and it's forced me to take some sort of action. So that's kind of taken up a lot of time in the back end. And then I am going to do a show this year, but it's going to be towards the back end of the year, and I haven't told anyone what show that's going to be just yet. So
you can't break it to our viewers as an exclusive. It's still under wraps.
Not yet. Okay. Still under wraps.
Right.
Yeah. So there's been so much happening.
Federations, perhaps. Got to keep that on the DL. Okay, yeah, keep us guessing. So you mentioned that you're doing seminars. What type of seminars are you doing? And is that involved in the charity? Or
no, so I've been doing 2 seminars. So I have the Ultimate Physique seminar, which I do with Tony Battaggi, and we were going to take that all online. Previously it was a 2-day course, a huge 2-day course, but we thought, well, let's actually string it out over a 10-week course. Obviously that creates a lot of content, and there's going to be video Zoom calls, so live Zoom seminars, which will be amazing. And then I also have another seminar that I do with Sebastian Oreb, which is Train the Female Athlete, which we'll probably do at the back end of the year, because that's more of a face-to-face kind of seminar. But they're two people that I've worked with for a very long time, who are absolutely incredible. And then unfortunately they're actually not linked to the charity. That's still something that I'm working on. Well, what is my role in the charity, and how do I guess use my platform to create an awareness around that? And something that I'm really interested in is Indigenous cultures and the Amazon, and also what's happening in our backyard. So I'm still doing some searching on what I want that to be, but they're unfortunately not linked.
Right. Okay. And so with the charity, you're, like you said, you're still searching. Is there something that you've set up, or you're going to set it up, or how's that working?
I will most likely work with something that's already set up.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And give your time and your sort of, well, what's the lack of a better word, fame to actually promote the cause. Is that the plan um, through a charity that you choose?
Well, you know, I'm very lucky that I have a great platform to speak from. And I guess, you know, we all are very lucky that we have a voice, and we have the opportunity to use it in a way that can be very influential and powerful. And I would like to, I guess, shine a light on things that might need a little bit more attention. You know, just like 2020, this year has shone a light on so many things that need to be looked at, from our health, the environment, cultures that are not as equal. And I think that actually 2020 has allowed us to go, well, what is the opportunity here? And to be honest, it was really, really, really confronting. Like, I didn't realize how hard that was. And my ex-partner of 10 years was, you know, Fijian. And I had to ask him, you know, what's your experience with racism? And he said all of these things. And I was like, oh my God, I never understand, like, you know, we're never going to understand. But all of this stuff's happening in our backyard. So that's where I'd like to start first.
Excellent. I think you hit the nail on the head when you said 2020 has been a highlight year. You know, first we had the bushfires, your environment, then we had your health with COVID, and now we've got systemic racism as well. And it's all highlighting things that I hopefully think it's got to turn out for the better, you know. It's hard, but I think it's going to make things better. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I mean, tension creates change, doesn't it?
That's right. And look, it's got you up and about and just discovering and educating yourself, and then wanting to spread the message and the word through your platforms and your voice. I think that's incredible and very generous of you. And if more people did that, we'd make a bigger change. So yeah, it's exciting to hear you say that sort of stuff.
Ah, thank you.
Yeah. Also, you mentioned SMP. What is that?
Oh, sorry, that's a sports photo project. That's my online coaching business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how do people get involved with you if they wanted to go to a seminar or get on board with Ultimate Physique or SMP? How do they do that?
Well, yeah. So they're all three separate pots. But most of the time, my social media is probably the best way to contact me. I have a link tree in obviously in my bio on my Hattie Boydle Instagram, so not on Gut Performance. But anything to do with my seminars would generally be on my Hattie Boydle website. And then to join the Sports Photo Project, there are links that you can link either in my story swipe ups or even on my Instagram page.
Awesome. Now, I don't think I asked this last time we caught up, but obviously, you know, you're winning world titles. You've got 557 or roughly 1,000 Instagram followers. You've got the brand Gut Performance, which we'll talk about in a bit. What did you find initially sort of threw you out into the public scene? Was there something that you did, or was it a competition that you won? When did you go, hey, wait a second, people are starting to notice me? Was there a particular event or a time?
Do you know what? It's funny. It's been a really slow burn. I mean, I started my Instagram 6 or 7 years ago, and I really didn't. I actually started it because my friend Bass, who I do my seminars with, Australian strength coach. I don't know if you guys have heard of him, but you probably have. He was like, "You've got to get an Instagram. You've got to start an Instagram." And I was like, "Why?" And his wife at the time, his amazing wife, and her sister had a huge following, Base Body Babes, and I was like, "Oh, okay." And to be honest, I really feel like my social media grew because I was just this little tiny chick doing these heavy ass weights. And I think I was like the first Australian to become top 4 in the world for WBFF, and then the following year I won it. So there was a series of things that happened. There was the training that I was doing and showing off you know, every week lifting like double body weight for reps, being a fitness model. It was like unheard of when I was doing it, you know, 5 or 6 years ago. Now you see a lot of fitness models lifting heavy, and it's absolutely sick. And at the time, like, no one was doing that. So I you know, I kind of got myself a bit of a name with that, and then obviously, you know, winning the world titles. And I think, you know, around that time as well, I got on the front cover of Oxygen. And obviously that helped, you know, particularly with the female market. And my story was about, you know, being anorexic to a world champion. And that's a pretty big story. And that's been a story that has continued to have a lot of interest in. And yeah, it was honestly, it wasn't one thing, you know, it's been 6 years. And, you know, they say it takes 10 years to become an overnight success. And I think it's really easy for us to focus on, you know, where people are at now instead of where they were before. And yeah, it's taken me 6 years to grow my social media. I'm a lot slower than other people. I know, like, you know, my girlfriend Lauren Simpson and Rachel Dill and a few other amazing people that I absolutely love. Their social media grows a lot quicker than mine. And yeah, they started theirs a lot, like, yeah, they haven't had theirs as long as mine, but I just let it grow organically. You know, if it grows, it grows. I've lost a lot of followers lately, and you know, that's the way it is. You know, maybe they're not my people anymore. I'm not interesting to them, and that's totally fine too. Yeah.
How would that work though?
Huh?
They'd find you, and how would that work? They'd literally find you and type unfollow. I just don't get how that happens.
I don't know, but I actually always hope it's men, because, you know, I can't help men. I can help women though.
Right. Actually, you could probably get those stats on the back end. You might say, hey, you know, I'm getting a more interactive audience. It's a good thing.
To be honest, my female following, my percentage went up, and I was like, yes.
I cast my mind back, I think, to the first time that I saw you. Have I got the right person here? Was it, so you did was it a squat and then you dropped the bar and then you did a dance?
Work. Yeah.
It's work,
yeah. My PB dance. I haven't done it for a while because I haven't hit any PBs.
Was that on stage, or was that just on a garage? Where was that?
No, it was at Base Gym.
It was at Base Gym, okay.
Yeah.
And then I remember it being like a big black background behind you and all that sort of stuff. Is that something that I saw or no?
No, it was white.
Was it?
But
right,
maybe
okay.
I was in near the mirrors.
And did that go viral?
Yeah, because I was 60 kilos and I squatted 140. So
right, yes.
I did a really good job on that one.
That is unbelievable. I've never squatted 140 in my life. That's unbelievable. Yeah, that's the first time I remember it. And I was just wondering if you were going to say, actually, it was the dance that catapulted me into the public eye. But it's been a slow burn. It wasn't the dance.
No, I wish it was. My dancing does need some work, though.
I don't know. It looked pretty funky, especially after tiring your legs out. You know, you can still move a little bit.
Oh God, there's been times I think I was twerking. I've been like I couldn't even see what I was like. So I had so much adrenaline running through my body trying to get this goddamn squat that when I squatted, I thought, okay, I'm up, unrack it, dance, and then like I walked off and I was kind of like all over the shop. But I just, like, it was like almost like a blur because there was so much adrenaline running through my system. Oh God.
And do you do the smelling salts at all before you lift?
No, I can't do that. And it's really funny because whenever I get on, like when I'm about to squat, so if I start from walking around the bar from the right, then every set following on from the first squat has to be, I'm like, what's the word?
Bit OCD.
Not a conspiracy, but and not OCD. It's like, oh, maybe it's OCD. But I have to do it at the same time every single time. I can't change. Especially if I'm having a really good squat session, it has to be the same every time. Like
superstitious. Is it superstitious? Yeah, right. Okay. And have you been in powerlifting competitions as well?
I haven't done a powerlifting competition. I've said to myself, yeah, I'm going to do it. But the thing is, I get so thick. So I'm a really great responder to heavy work, particularly if my calories are matched. And, you know, by the end of a really big strength block, I can't move very well. And it's quite debilitating. Like my quads get really thick. You know, I start to waddle because my hips are tight, and then my back gets out, and I just think, oh God, I can't do this. But every time I go to watch a friend powerlift or bass powerlift, I think, oh my God, I'm going to do this. And then when it comes to actually doing it, I just can't follow through because I just get so uncomfortable with the training. So, and I'm, you know, I say this in the nicest way possible, but I'm vain. You know, I care about the way I look. So getting really thick isn't my favorite part of that. So, yeah, so that's me. Maybe one day when I've retired from fitness modeling.
Well, that's true. You've got to think about winning those competitions as well. You know, if you're coming out with a big, thick midsection, maybe that's not what they're looking for. I don't know.
Oh, man, the rotation doesn't work.
No, it's all good from the front, then 10 on the side.
Yeah.
It's too much muscle. So, A. Carpenter has said, do you think the way you treat your body with gut performance is the reason you can lift so heavy? That's a bit of a vague.
I would love to promote that gut performance is the reason I lifted heavy. But what I can say, I mean, gut performance has definitely played a huge role in my body's health in terms of being able to absorb and digest my nutrients. I mean, one of the main reasons why I started gut performance was so that I could continue to perform well, so I could continue to train hard. You know, if we're not recovering, then you obviously can't continue that performance. And, you know, I really care about my body. I really care about it from the inside out, mentally and physically. And, you know, gut performance has really played a huge role in, particularly when I prep, because it manages my inflammation, which then allows me to continue to absorb my nutrients, which means that I'm giving my body optimal amount of calories that it needs to perform what I need it to perform.
Excellent. And so while I've got it up, for those of you that have just joined in, stick around to the end. Hattie is giving away a free gut performance and her Love and Light, that's it, Love and Light journal as well. So you've got to stick around to the end. You go in a chance to win that. We'll explain how to do that. And this guy here, while I've got it, is one of our best sellers at Fat Burners Only. So I bought two. Yes. There's also a twin pack. There you go.
Give the people what they want.
And then you were kind enough as well to give us a free spoon and a mason jar that goes with the twin pack. So probably sorted it all out. Discounted twin pack, you get all that stuff for free as well. And I've been told I've got to say that we're running a sale at the moment. Is that spelt right? Is that upside down?
Big sale, but it's upside down.
Big sale. So 15% off everything at Fat Burners Only at the moment. You use code Big Sale. And you can get 15% off gut performance during our end of financial sale, is what we call it.
So stock up. You know you're going to have it.
And you know you're going to use it. You use it once a day. You know, it will last you a month and you have to buy another one so you can stock up on a discount.
Yeah, so, exactly. The thing is to get 6 months worth, because then you're going to save a more amount of money and you've got it for the rest of the year.
Well, that's true. Buy 3 twin packs, you'll get our 3-tier pricing if you know how our website works.
Yeah.
So just a cool talking point. Obviously, world champion, it takes a certain amount of motivation to get there. What gives you motivation to stay on your diet, to train hard, to push those weights, to go through the pain? What motivates Hattie Boydle? Oh, I've got my camera. I'm going to spin it back. Whoops. There we go. I'm trying to wave at everyone, but I tapped it.
Oh, what motivates me? The thought of being mediocre makes me cringe. And I always say to myself, why be mediocre when you can be great?
You sound like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
What do I have to do to take myself to the next level? What does that entail? How do I, my body's been through a lot. I've really tested its boundaries over the years, and it wasn't until I really realized the power of my mind and the power of my body. And that came with developing a relationship to it and with it. And from that, I thought, all right, we've got one body, one life. What are we going to do? I'm an athlete. I love performance. I'm really driven by performance. Every preparation, I stretch my boundaries. So I ask myself, what am I going to do this time? Well, how am I going to push myself? How am I going to stretch myself? You know, what do I have to do to take myself to the next level? And to be honest, looking after myself motivates me to just keep doing better. Just keep climbing that mountain. Like, eventually there's going to, you know, that time's going to run out where I can push my body to its limits. So I'm going to push it while I can with still self-compassion. So any goal that we set for ourselves, it demands more from us. Like, that's why we set a goal, right? Because it pulls us forward to something. So I love to set goals that demand more from me, that pull me, that stretch me, that require effort, time, patience, because that's where we grow. If we think about masters, they don't just become masters. They spend years and years and years and years refining, practicing until they're at the best. And then they continue to be the best by continuing those practices. And for me, that is so fulfilling. Like, so fulfilling. I couldn't imagine living any other way. So for me, it's the motivation to be great is so that I'd never have to be mediocre.
I think that's amazing. And Arnold Schwarzenegger is one of my favorite heroes, and he says the same thing. He's like, you only get one life, why waste it? Why be mediocre? So that rings true, absolutely. And I think setting that goal to always have something to aspire to, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts, you have to have that goal, you know, otherwise you'll stagnate. And so I think that's brilliant. And so you said you've always been an athlete. Were you an athlete growing up in school, or what were you doing then?
Yeah, so my parents put me into gymnastics when I was 4 years old. And, you know, because I used to climb over everything and out of everything. As soon as I could walk, I would climb. And I was in primary school, and I was doing, you know, 32 hours a week of gymnastics. I was an elite level gymnast. I would go to the AIS to train and be poached there to do training camps there. And then that led me to do literally every sport under the sun. I could do everything. And so I was very, very, very athletic growing up, and in high school as well. Unfortunately, I stopped doing gymnastics when I got to high school because boys, no, I'm kidding.
Blame us.
Yeah, you know, I got a little bit distracted. But when I started, you know, when I started weight training, I was like, wow, what is this thing? You know, and I was instantly hooked because, you know, it taught me, you know, all these skills that I had been doing for such a long time. And there was an emptiness when I had stopped competing. So I've been competitive my whole life. But now I'm more competitive with myself than anyone else.
Right, which works perfectly in an individual sport like figure. Yeah, and maybe one day powerlifting. So who knows?
Maybe one day.
And so you've talked about sort of what motivates you. You don't want to be mediocre, and I think that's a great thing. I think when you say it out loud and people hear it, I think that will invoke them to feel the same. How do you get then the mindset to match that motivation?
Well, over the years, I guess I've learned that motivation isn't the reason I'll ever be successful. Motivation is an opportunity to start something, and motivation is an opportunity to create a plan. And it's action and following a process that delivers the result. So something that I'm very grateful for is that gymnastics was always process driven. Gymnastics was always skill development. I couldn't do the next thing until I'd mastered this thing. I couldn't move from level 1 to level 2 till I'd won this amount of events. I'd learned this amount of skill. I've spent this amount of time doing this, and then I moved to the next thing. So, you know, motivation is a beautiful feeling. I often talk to my sports model girls and say, you know, motivation, she's like this energy that comes over us, and we feel like superwoman. It's like you feel invincible. You feel like you can stretch yourself, that you can handle so much more. But eventually she's going to go. And within that time that you're feeling highly motivated, that's the opportunity there we go, well, this is going to be my goals, this is the process I'm going to follow, and this is how I'm going to mark it off. If it's not measured, it's not managed. You know, and a process allows us to put one foot in front of the other and measure what we're doing. So we have a goal. If you have a goal, but there's no process, that goal is just a dream. It's not real. It's the process that makes it real. It's the thing you do every single day that makes it real, that makes it tangible, that makes it come to life. So when you're feeling highly motivated, that's the time you take action. So
and how
goes,
sorry, you go. Yep.
You keep following the process. So what were you going to say?
I was saying, and that's the mindset that you give yourself. You go, hey, I need to get that mindset to follow a process to match my motivation.
Mm.
Okay. And then how do you get your behaviors to fit in with that? And what sort of things do you do to make sure that you stay on the process behaviors?
Well, first thing, I always use my journal. So I often use my journal to anchor me to my process. So that's pretty much, I call it where I write my hopes and dreams, my visions. And from there, I'll write out, okay, so what's my time frame? How do I work back? What's my goal of that time frame? Is it to lose 6 kilos in 16 weeks? What does that look like on a weekly basis and a monthly basis? What are my starting macros going to be? What do I, what's my my rituals for that day? It's to journal in the morning to clear my space. It's to pre-plan my meals for the day so I hit my macros. It's to train at this amount of at this time because that's where my energy is most effective. Then it's planning out the rest of my day so that things are structured in a way where my food can be structured and that where my work can be structured, and then I go to sleep early. And it's all about being organized. Organization, pre-planning, preparation, and then taking the action. At the end of the week, I measure, how did I go over that week? Was I successful? And there's 3 questions I always ask myself. What did I do well? And I name and I acknowledge, hey, I did this, and this really well. What do I need to improve on? And the reason I use improve is because improve is positive. Improve is working towards something, right? Rather than, I didn't do this very well this week. Like, that's a really negative way. It's like, ugh. It's like, okay, well, what can I improve on? Cool. Right. I'm going to write out what I improved on, and then not just write it out. It's like, well, what's the action that's going to be associated with that improvement?
Okay.
Right. Then the last question is, what are my wins? Like, what did I actually do? Like, not just well, but I fucking killed that week. In some weeks I won't have something that I nailed. That's totally fine too, but I did things that I did well. But at some point we can find something that's a win, whether it's a language win, how we've spoken to ourselves, how we've spoken to someone that we might have had tension with. Did we do a really great meditation when we've had a really loud head that week? And so there's a lot of self-regulating that goes on, a lot of self-reflection, and then a lot of reassessing, and then moving forward.
But you've even given yourself a structure for that. So when you're journaling, what did I do well? What do I need to improve on? And what did you win? So there's structure all the way through. So would you say that structure is one of your strong points?
You know what? I'm only really structured when it comes to training and nutrition. Like, right. That is the time when I am the most organized out of any other time in my life. And I try and work out why. I guess it's something that I can really control. So because it's me, I'm dealing with myself. I do my training and my nutrition. It's like, okay, this is what we're going to do. There's no relying on an external human being or an external environment to influence me. It's all something that's kind of an internal job. So I guess that's why, I'm pretty structured in that way. And competition prep, it's definitely high in terms of arousal in the nervous system, and with that comes rigidity and being super rigid. This is where I don't know if you've ever dealt with someone on a competition prep and something doesn't go their way and they have a really awful attitude about it. I'm definitely not like that, but there's a rigidity that comes along with competition prep. And something that I speak to my girls about is, you need discipline, right? To get into shape. Whatever goal that you have, it requires discipline, right? But I also believe that discipline has flexibility in it. Actually, to be disciplined allows flexibility. It doesn't have to be rigid. There are boundaries. Humans, we respond well to boundaries, but we also respond well to flexibility. So that's something that I've learned to kind of go through and have flexibility in my process while still staying within my boundaries of what needs to be done.
Perfect. So I'm big on that as well. So you give yourself the rules, and if you fit within those rules, it should be okay.
Yeah.
And like you said, they're not really rules. They actually give you the freedom to do everything inside those rules and know that you're fine. I love it.
Flexibility.
Yes. And so you find that temptation, when you've got those rules, you don't get tempted, or you just know, even if you get tempted, you're not going to break them.
I just know my boundaries. I've done it so many times. And actually something that I spoke about on my social media yesterday, it was like, well, what's the cost of that action? Like, what is the cost of you taking that action? What is the cost of you going, actually, I'm going to eat I'm going to eat that extra chocolate, whatever it is. What's the cost of that? It's not just the cost of you going over your food prep. It's the emotional cost that comes after that of, oh, I didn't do this thing, and like get all guilty. And then you like for the next 2 hours or whatever it is, you feel like shit. And then the next day you want to try and, do whatever to it's just, there's a cost to that action. Whereas when there's a cost to going, you know what, at the moment there's tension, there's a bit of effort to not do that thing, but the cost of me not doing that thing requires more freedom elsewhere.
Perfect.
And that's something that I also think about, like what's on the other side of that action.
That's awesome. I just want to bring up that you apologize for saying shit, but you dropped the F-bomb earlier and just went completely over it. That's hilarious. Hey, we keep it real here. There's no censoring. It's fun. Hey, it's after 8:30. Go nuts.
Go girl.
So you said that you do all of your own food prep and macros and all that. Does that mean that Hattie Boydle doesn't have a coach?
I do my own coaching, but I also work with coaches. So I go in and train, do some training with Tony Battaji, and I also do some strength work with Sebastian Oro. But I pretty much put all my pieces together. Yeah.
And so I'm sure there's some people watching that would be interested in your actual sort of routines. Just without getting into too much detail, because I'm sure it'll take hours, what sort of a typical day look like as far as eating, let's say? Do you have your breakfast, you're waiting 2 hours? How big are your meals? That sort of thing. Oh. How do you roll it?
So I actually recently got a puppy. So she's actually been the only thing that's been able to disrupt my structure. Lucky I'm flexible. But the first thing I do in the mornings is I wake up, and at the moment I take the puppy and the other dogs that we have out for a walk. And I generally just get up. I'll actually have my gut performance first. Then I go for my walk, come back, and do you really want to know what I eat in the morning?
Actually, I do, but I also want to know, how long do you walk for? I'm going to write this.
Well, at the moment, I only go for about 40 minutes, and I take the dogs because my puppy, she's only 10 weeks old, so I can.
Is the puppy there?
She's at my mum's house. She's
our audience.
My mum's puppy sitting her. She's the grandma. Grandma.
Lucky Lily tonight. Cool. All right. So what's your breakfast? And sort of, you go for your walk and then you have breakfast straight away, do you? Or
I'm starving by then, and like the only reason I go pretty much fasted is because it's 6:15 in the morning. And I just need to get the dogs out so I can come home, eat, and then get on my work calls, because my work calls start at 8 a.m. I had about 150 grams of sourdough. So there's this big bread that my girlfriend and I buy, and it's like a tortoise shell. So it's like literally like all of this, and we polish that off in like 3 or 4 days. We eat
Wow.
so much of it. So I eat about 150 grams of that with some sort of vegetable. So it will be maybe 100 grams of mushroom and 200 grams of cooked spinach, with 1 whole egg and 200 grams of egg whites. Then I have 2 full cream coffees. And I buy this milk, and it's got like cream on top, and I try and like pick out the cream bits. It's so good, and put in my coffee.
And is this the bath milk because it's the real stuff, or is it
close? It's so close to that. It's not. I love that stuff. That stuff's amazing. But I can't find that stuff anywhere. But this stuff is actually from, what farm is it? It's like from Adelaide, a farm from Adelaide. It's like so creamy. So I always try to be the first one to open that one, so I get all the cream. And then I'll also have, maybe 10 minutes later, I'll have another 100 grams of sourdough. So at the moment I have about 250 grams of sourdough in the morning. And
that's almost a kilo of food.
Huh?
It's almost a kilo of food for breakfast.
My breakfast is like 800 calories.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I put some honey on that, honey and low-fat cream cheese, which is amazing. And then I generally train. I'll do a couple of calls, maybe 2 hours of calls in the morning with my clients, and then I'll train mid-morning. And then after that, I'll have 400 grams of basmati rice with about 30 grams of like a hoisin sauce. Or if I don't have hoisin sauce, I'll have 10 grams of butter in that with some broccoli, beetroot, and about 100 grams of lean beef mince. And then a couple of hours later, I'll either have maybe another 300 grams of rice with 80 grams of beef mince, with about 200 grams of, maybe 100 grams of beans, another 100 grams of broccoli. And then in the afternoon, I'll have 25 grams of chocolate. And then at night, I'll have about 200 grams of basmati rice, 100 grams of pumpkin. And then I'll generally have chicken or maybe fish. Like I try and have a different protein source at night. So, or sometimes I have sardines. I love sardines. I never thought I'd like sardines so much. But yeah, I try and get I eat a lot of rice and I eat a lot of bread to get my carbs in. Yeah.
And did those foods ever mess you up at any point, or have you always been fine with breads and rice?
Always been fine. I swear I can eat that 400 grams of basmati rice and it just feels like nothing. I'm like, I'm still hungry.
Still hungry. And so how many calories?
Huh?
How many calories are you eating per day, would you say?
So 3 times a week, I'm eating 3,000.
Okay.
Or 2,900, just under 3,000. And then 4 other days, I'm eating 2,500. So trying to keep my food really, really high for as long as I can before I have to take food away.
And do you ever get to super low calories at any point in your prep, or what would be the lowest you get to?
My lowest is 1,740.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Around the 1,700 mark. But I really try to do my best not doing that. Yeah.
And do you ever vary your vegetables? I know you said you vary your meat source at night. You might have chicken or fish or sardines, but do you ever vary the vegetables throughout the day as well?
Yeah, like at the moment, to be honest, I've been really lazy. So I've got heaps of frozen vegetables in the freezer, which I never thought I would eat. But actually my mum and the food scientist Mal did a really good paper on actually how frozen vegetables have more nutrients in them. So we've got like peas, carrots, broccoli, beans, cauliflower, and all that in the freezer. And I just take them out. I also make like this ratatouille recipe. So it's got like peppers, like orange, yellow, and red peppers, eggplant, carrot in there, celery. So I bind that in. So I do try and get like I try and get lots of different vegetables throughout the week coming into my diet, because I know how important variety of nutrients is for for the body. And if we eat too much of one food, we can actually create an intolerance to it. So I mentioned in the beginning, like, health is really important to me. Not feeling bloated is important to me. And yeah, I'm trying to be more open to different foods, particularly when the seasons happen. So we should be trying to eat more foods that are actually in the season rather than just eating all the foods that are always available to us.
I think that's so important. So what would you say to a competitor whose coach literally says, I want you to eat chicken, rice and broccoli 3 meals a day, every day for 12 weeks? Because it does happen.
Get another coach now. Look, honestly, I couldn't imagine ever comp prepping on a meal plan like that. I'm really good at dieting, but because I have flexibility. Like, and I've had a lot of girls that have come to me that have been on meal plans, and they said they're on these amount of calories, and I go through it. I'm like, they're not matching. They're like, that's like 400 calories less than what you think you're actually eating. And wow. Now that they're doing macros and they're trying to create flexibility in the diet, there's this fear of other foods. And also there's also intolerances that have happened. So if we think about, you know, when we have less variety in our diet, the window of tolerance in our gut to be able to handle other foods gets smaller. Okay, then we've created that small window into a smaller window, and then say you have to go on low FODMAP, that makes that window even smaller. So eating the same food over and over and over again can create intolerances to us, and you create intolerances to those foods that you've been eating, which then makes things a lot harder, you know, for you to get into your diet without feeling that discomfort. And you know, that's a really hard thing when it comes to meal plans, because you're just eating the same thing over and over and over again.
Emil's Kitchens just asked, what's your thoughts on keto?
So, look, every diet works if the person's willing to do the work. I personally don't feel that keto is great for females. The only time actually that it might be beneficial to a female is during their luteal phase of their cycle, where inflammation's high and our ability to handle carbohydrates is lower. So actually, I've got some clients who I give them close to a keto macro split, just the 10 days out from their cycle or bleeding. And it's actually helped them reduce migraines and also help with their inflammation. So there's only a 10-day period where they'll switch to that style of eating. But as soon as their cycle starts and their, I guess, symptoms go away, they return back to their normal higher carbohydrate eating. So because ketones help with inflammation, that's probably a good time where you might slot that kind of eating in. But in terms of long term, it's just not great for females in general. We need carbohydrates for our brain and our organs and also our cycle. So that's pretty much my opinion on that.
And you mentioned before that you really enjoy sort of knowing that you've got a variety of foods, staying not inflamed but also not bloating. It sort of brings me back to this guy here. You've logged in from Gut Performance. So let's talk about this bad boy for a little bit. So yeah. I know that you were approached by dozens of different supplement companies wanting endorsement. And you've said, no, you're not really a supplement person. Why did you choose to endorse Gut Performance?
Well, Gut Performance isn't a supplement. So that was what was very enticing to me. But also, so it's a food group. Okay, so it's a natural food. And when I was being approached to be involved in the trials and I guess the ingredients being put together for this product, I wanted to be all about recovery. I wanted it to help me improve my ability to absorb nutrients, right? We don't absorb 100% of our nutrients. We don't. No one does. But how do I do that to the best that I can? Well, luckily this amazing food, this amazing food product has helped me do that. And I tried and I tested it, and I tried it and tested it, and I was absolutely blown away with how I felt within a week of doing the trials. And yeah, I was a little resistant to yeah, coming on board. But then I was telling people to have it. So I was like, but I'm telling people to have it, but I'm scared, you know. And then I was like, you know what, I back this product so much. I take it every day. I take it every day, literally. I panic if I've run out, because I had a week actually in my prep in 2018 where I'd actually run out of gut performance, and I could not handle my training volume. I literally overnight, my inflammation went up by 1.5 kilos. I hadn't changed anything. I had to back all my training off. And it wasn't until I got back to Sydney that I started on gut performance again, and my inflammation literally dropped within a day. And that's even with flying. And I still dropped the inflammation in a day. And my I guess my bowel movements came back to their regular system, and I was able to continue to train again. And I just thought, oh my God, like this product is unbelievable. So like I mentioned, it's a natural food product. So you can take it every day. And whether you're an athlete or someone that wants to improve their health, this product is one of the best products that you can take.
And so where were you in 2018 where your gut performance ran out?
I was in Mexico.
Mexico of all places.
Yeah.
So what were you eating over there?
Huh?
What were you eating over there? Just quickly, Marcel has just said gut performance, literally the best out there, saved me so much money, multiple products, does so many things all in one. Marcel actually is a customer that comes into our store. Absolute legend as well, and he loves your product.
Thanks, legend.
So what were you eating in Mexico?
Okay, so in 2018, I think I ate out 5 times. I made all of my meals like the entire year, and Mexico had amazing vegetables and produce. The produce was insane. Yeah, I was eating like, you know, normal like beef, chicken, fish, all of the vegetables. Like the produce was amazing. But I was training a lot, and the only thing that changed in my diet was I no longer had gut performance to have every day. And I was feeling awful, like awful. And as soon as I got home, my sister picked me up from the airport with some gut performance. I was like, Emma, you've got to pick me up. I need you to bring some gut performance. And she did. And like literally, I felt like within literally the 24 hours, I had it the day I landed and the next morning. And I like all my inflammation started to subside. My energy came back. My bowels turned to like, I've got really good digestion, and it went off for like a couple of days. And I was like, what's happened to me? I was like, have I done something wrong? What have I done? Like, it was so bizarre. But yeah, so I literally have not had a day without gut performance since 2018.
Every single day. Do you ever find you're having it twice a day?
Yeah, so because gut performance is full of insoluble and soluble fiber. So and also resistant starch. So one of the main ingredients, which is the red sorghum, is also low GI. So because it's high in fiber and it's low GI, when I'm in a competition prep and I'm starving in the afternoon and I just, you know, I've got to push that window out just a couple more hours, I actually have a gut performance, and it
Uh-oh. Hello? We've lost you there for a second, Hattie. All right.
We're back. Here we go. Yeah, so it just helps me push out that starvation window in the afternoon. So I always have it every morning. Then I'll have it at night. Then I have it in the afternoon. But also, actually, I have had it at night because I have a very sweet tooth. And if I've run out of macros and I'm hungry, I have some gut performance with some magnesium powder. And then I have that after dinner, and that just hits a sweet spot. And then, yeah, so I don't have it more than twice a day. If I don't have it in the afternoon, I'll have it at night.
Perfect. Okay, so just while I remember, we've still got 6 minutes to chat, and you've obviously done lives before, haven't you, Hattie?
I have.
You know they kick you off after an hour, right?
Yeah, it's happened to me many times, and I'll be mid-conversation.
Oh, okay. Yeah, mid-conversation, or you in the end thanking someone, it cuts you off and you feel really rude. But while we've still got 5 minutes, what we might do is we might get the watchers to win one of these right now. So what we might get you to do, are you on the bottom of this split screen, Hattie? Or, yeah, okay. So if you point up to the top screen, and then
Point up to the top.
Yeah, just do that so you can sort of, yep. And then I'll just hold this out. And then our burners are going to take a photo and then upload it. And then Chloe is going to announce the winner at 4 p.m. tomorrow. So okay. I'll count down from 3. Guys, get ready to take a screenshot. 3, 2, 1, go. All right. So I look like a total goofball there. You look great. But, pop that up on your stories, and Chloe's going to go through them, and 4 p.m. tomorrow, she's going to choose one. So make sure you leave it up, and someone's going to get a gut performance and one of Hattie's awesome Love and Life journals, which I think is such a good idea and super important.
And I'm going to sign it and leave a little love letter in there.
That's what you want. That's the number one thing. You're going to get Hattie's signature and a little love note.
I'm sorry for my handwriting. It's not very good.
That means it's authentic. That's what they want. Give the people what they want. That's perfect. So while I've also got our burners' attention, so you can take the screenshot. We've got 15% off. That's upside down again. So use the code BIGSALE. You get 15% off, and that includes gut performance. So go to Fat Burners Only, get your gut performance for 15% off. And if you want to stock up, get the twin pack at a discounted price. So you have 2 months worth, and we'll give you a free mason jar in here and one of these cool little purple spoons, which I think is one of the best things in the shop. I just love it. I just think it's awesome. There you go.
You can even get the double package and give it to a friend that you think might need gut performance.
That'd be very generous. But hey, maybe they're a nice person. You're a nice person. You want to give your friend good digestion and good absorption of nutrients.
That's right.
So we've got 3 minutes left, and so like you said, it's a food. It's not a supplement. It's got 3 main ingredients. We've got sugarcane stem, you mentioned red sorghum, and it also has the beetroot as well. Why does it have the sugarcane stem in here?
So the sugarcane stem has the sucrose removed, and it's actually a powerful micronutrient. In particular, it has chromium, and chromium is really good at managing blood sugar levels. So it's also rich in polyphenols, high in antioxidants, and it's also used in our microbiome to prevent cell damage. So it's really funny because a lot of people, when they see the sugarcane stem in there, they think that it's full of sugar. But actually what we've done is, taken the sucrose has been removed, and it's been removed from, I can never remember what it's called, but it's a cold, it's not a heat it's not taken out by heat. Yeah. So all of the micronutrients actually in that sugarcane stem stay in there. And then we've also got the beetroot, which is high in organic nitrate, which gets converted into nitric oxide in the body, which is also very good in gut health and also muscle recovery and performance. So that was one of the main reasons that we wanted to put beetroot in. I ate lots of beetroot as well. And that was something that was coming up. And when we put it in, it was actually one of the nicest complements to the other 2 ingredients. And so the last ingredient is the red sorghum. And so the red sorghum is high in resistant starch. It's also low GI. And the research shows that it actually plays a really big role in improved gut health and managing weight control. So all of them are natural foods. There's also guar gum in there, which is great for sealing the stomach lining. So all of the ingredients were really thought about. That's why it's gluggy. You know, so if anyone's used it before and you're staring at it, you're like, oh, it's quite gluggy. That's actually the guar gum in there. It's amazing for the intestinal wall to help it seal the lining. So I wanted to, I had the option of putting supplements in there, but to me, I thought, you know what, why change what we have when everything was working so well. And it was actually put together by the Monash University here in Sydney, and it was actually produced to help you with IBS. So that's why we get so many people reach out with testimonials saying this has just helped me take my life back and help.
Hey Berners, so that was the hour done. Sorry we got cut off. Hattie is half an hour past her bedtime too, so I'm sure she's been hung up on by Instagram and then she's shot off to bed. Massive thank you to Hattie for giving us an hour of her time. I think you guys would have got a hell of a lot out of that. I know I certainly learned a lot. The problem with talking with Hattie is that you could literally talk. Oh, she's just joined again. Oh, we're gonna be able to have some time to round this out, guys. So it's very kind. Hattie's logged on again. We better say we're not going to go for another hour, otherwise she'll be way past her bedtime.
I was like, I just sent you like a laughing face. I'm like,
I saw that. Yeah,
I thought I'd jump on and say thank you.
That's cool. And you were saying just really quickly, you were getting people with IBS just loving the product.
Yeah, we honestly, you know, that we had, and we have continued to have had the most amazing testimonials from people just reaching out on their own, just saying how incredible gut performance has been, in particular people with IBS. And it's definitely the management of inflammation. So as I was saying, like, I don't have any digestive issues. I just take this because it helps me feel amazing. It's almost like my, you know, my safety net, that I know that it's, you know, it's like a multivitamin for me. You have it every day. So it's yeah, it's my everyday thing, you know. So yeah, that's what I'm setting at.
Well, that's perfect. And thanks so much. And as I mentioned before, you were resistant to deal with any supplement. This really isn't a supplement, it's more a food. And the fact that you only got behind it after using it for years and recommending it to your clients, it's a testament, obviously, to your good character, but also to the fact that the product works. You know, you believe in it, it's real, it's not hype, it's not marketing, it's actually causing a big change in people.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, they know, like, I was quite difficult to work with in the beginning, because I wanted to make it, you know, as we were doing the trials and the testing, like, I wanted it to be real. I wanted it to be something that I would 100% back. And I'm honestly so proud of it. Like, it's like my baby. It's something that I'm really, really, really proud of. And we're continuing to, we've actually been working on another product, another gut performance. We've got a new flavor coming out and it tastes amazing. And, you know, we've actually been working on that a lot, particularly in COVID. So we're looking forward to having that release as well, hopefully at the end of this year.
End of this year. And any sneak peeks for our burners, or they're going to have to wait to see?
Oh, you're going to have to wait.
Okay.
But you guys will be definitely the first to know.
All right. Well, we'll be the first to know. Maybe we can jump on another live and give an exclusive just before you're about to release it, perhaps.
Yeah.
If you've got an extra half an hour after your bedtime in 6 months' time.
Well, can we do an hour earlier?
We could. You just let us know. We'll go around your schedule. Yeah.
Okay.
And just quickly, I know you've already given us an hour. Just wanted to say a massive thank you for giving us an hour of your time. It's always a pleasure to chat to you. And I was saying before we log back in together that the problem with talking with Hattie is you can literally spend 5 hours and you still have 5 hours more to go. But there's only so many hours in the day. So thanks so much for doing it. If you don't know, Hattie Boydle is she's a world champion WBFF. She used to be a gymnast and she's a superstar and one day going to be a top powerlifter. I'll let you get back to bed. Hattie, thanks so much for joining us tonight for Wednesday Night Live. All right, cheers. Bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you.